I am going to all over Generation 6. Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaimMD here. Today we're going to be talking about Generation 6 and the Pokemon that I would buff, because unfortunately, I have no idea how a generation can have about 72 Pokemon and over 80% of them are bad. You have Pokemon like Greninja, which are fantastic, or Zygarde, which are amazing, right? And then it just tips all the way down to Pokemon like Aromatisse and Gogoat. What were they thinking? So today we'll be going over Generation 6, and again, Pokemon I will buff. This is my third installment in my Pokemon generations I will buff. We started with Generation 8, and then of course we also did Generation 4 because of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Remix, and today we'll be going over Generation 6, and I know you guys have been enjoying these, so of course, if you do though, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment about what you think should be buffed in Generation 6, whether you agree or disagree with me, or you have something else, and of course, subscribe if you are new. I do these videos once a week. And I kind of plan on doing the rest of the generation since you guys seem to be liking them. So let's get right into Generation 6. I'm just like, I was looking at the Pokedex and I was like, holy crap, man. Like, why are half of these mons so ungood? Like, what's going on? We are fresh out the shower, by the way, so my hair is straight up falling. So, again, obviously, Generation 6 has some demons, right? Zygarde is an incredible Pokemon. Only because of Thousand Arrows, though. Only because of Thousand Arrows. And obviously, its bulk overall was made useful because of Thousand Arrows. Then you have Greninja, which is also an incredible Pokemon. Only because of Battle Bond or Protean. And then from there, it kind of falls off. You have things like Hoopa and Volcanion and stuff like that. But I don't even know if like the other form of Hoopa is considered Generation 6. Whatever. It definitely is. But anyway. Is it? Anyway, let's talk about the Pokemon I buff. So I made this list myself, obviously, well, with my buddy Chimpact as well. I wanted to see what he wanted to think about it. But I made this list and I just decided on Pokemon that I thought would get them. So yeah, first off we have Chesnaught. Now Chesnaught is a grass fighting type. Obviously it is the final evolution of the grass type starter in this generation. And unfortunately Chesnaught is just shy of being good. Like, it's kind of right there, but not. It has great attack, great defenses, and its HP is pretty good too. Has obviously nice utility in Leech Seed, Spikes, and Spiky Shield. Very happy they gave it Spikes as well. I think it made a lot of sense. But outside of that, not really the best thing. You either use it as a defensive wall, and that's kind of outclassed by something like Tangrowth or even Ferrothorn when it came to that generation. Ferrothorn can provide Spikes, whereas Tangrowth would be a better wall with Regenerator. And then, you know, you also have the sub belly drum with, unfortunately, Chesnaught is just a little bit too slow to reliably do that. So I have a couple buffs here I gave Chesnaught. First one is I would give it base 70 speed. The reason I give it base 70 speed is because I wanted to at least be able to compare with like a modest Heatran and things like that below. Give something like Adamant Mamoswine a run for its money, force Jolly on Pokemon. Because when you force natures on Pokemon, it actually forces them to be weaker, right? When you force speed boosting natures, it makes them be weaker than if you force attack or special attack boosting natures. That's just common sense. So I would give it base 70 speed. Just give it that same speed tier as all the other grass fighting type, right? You got Braylon right there. So that's one. The other thing I would give is close combat. Now, Chesnaught, if you guys didn't know, actually has a pretty good move pool. It has Wood Hammer, it has Stone Edge, it has Super Power and Drain Punch, which are your fighting stab, which is like where it kind of tips off a little bit. And then on top of that, it has a bunch of other stuff like Earthquake, and then Dragon Claw is there, but it's not like you use Dragon Claw as coverage. Typically, Dragon is pretty bad coverage, so it has a decent move pool, but I don't think it has a really spammable fighting type attack. And with its base 107 attack, I think that close combat would obviously help the thing out. Close combat is probably one of my favorite things to teach the Pokemon. A lot of people like to make that joke that I want to give everything close combat, but it makes sense on Chesnaught. It's a fighting grass type. Like, just give it CC. Give it to Braylon too, to be honest. But yeah, close combat's the first thing I did. The second thing I wanted to give it was Rapid Spin. I wanted to give it some utility, and this is different from Serena, obviously, because it's grass fighting, and the other thing, obviously, being the fact that it can get up spikes, whereas Serena would still have its use. Obviously, I know Serena is, you know, different. I'm trying to like not make them the same, right? Because Serena has high jump kick, this one would have Rapid Spin in close combat, but Serena also has access to U-turn, knock off, and things like that too. So they are different. They differ. I think that Rapid Spin makes sense. Spiky Shield, spikes, like this, its whole, the way it looks like it should be able to Rapid Spin. But then again, so does Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn cannot Rapid Spin. I don't know if you guys ever seen the way Ferrothorn moves. But yeah, I would give it Rapid Spin. Not only would it be a nice way to get rid of hazards, but it'd also be a pretty big buff to Chesnaught as well. If they did buff it to base 70 speed, again, if they kept the base 64, whatever, because Rapid Spin obviously got that buff that gives you that +1 speed. So I kind of like the idea of Rapid Spin on Chesnaught, giving that utility. It would be like a lower tier, even maybe OU. And this is usually in a 66 perspective when I say these, not like VGC, because I know you see Talonflame there, but it kind of be like an almost like an extra drill lead, right? Because extra drill focus slash lead runs Earthquake, Rapid Spin, Stealth Rock, and then depending on the set, Iron Head, Rock Tomb, Toxic. So imagine like a anti-lead, offensive, Chesnaught with Close Combat, Rapid Spin, Wood Hammer, so you die, that way they can't defog, and Spikes. So it'd be pretty cool. Next up, we have another starter. This is Delphox. Now Delphox was, again, just shy of being good, and it's funny that Delphox doesn't exist right now in a generation where there's no pursuit, where I would argue that it, would probably be at its best because it's Psychic type, and Psychic types, Ghost types, they're doing pretty well right now because there's no pursuit. But Delphox, I would give it Aura Sphere. That's really the only thing I'd give it. I think it makes sense with the whole magician type of thing that it is. And I obviously, like, in some type of magic, aura is involved, chi, things like that. So I would definitely give it Aura Sphere. It would give it that dark type coverage that it doesn't desperately need, but when I think of two Pokemon that automatically stop Delphox from being good, I think of Heatran and I think of Tyranitar. There's no hidden power, so you can't run hidden power fighting anymore. And the only fighting type attack it has is what, Power Up Punch that you see right there. So I'd give it that. Maybe to get Scorching Sand as well, but if it did come back. But I think the Aura Sphere makes a little bit more sense, and I was going to even go as far as to give it Nasty Plot, but I think Calm Mind, Aura Sphere, Psyshock, and Fire Blast would be just more than enough. And obviously you'd still have to decide if you want to run that or if you want to run Grass Knot, depending on what is allowed in the tier. But I do think that Aura Sphere makes a lot of sense for Delphox and would also just buff its utility. Talonflame. Now, Talonflame was one of the GOATs of Gen 6, past Gen 6. I want to be clear about past Gen 6. Why? Well, let's look at VGC for a second. Basically, Priority Tailwind, Priority Brave Bird. You even saw Mixed with Overheat for Mawile. It was a good Pokemon. Gale Wings was great because no matter what HP stat you were at, you'd have priority on your flying type attacks. They ended up changing this because it was broken, man. It was over-centralizing. So they changed it. Now, go to OU, which is the main thing we talk about here. And Talonflame was really good in past Generation 6. I'm very clear about saying past Generation 6 because in current Generation 6, which people do still play on tournaments several times a year over on Smogon, Talonflame is like B- rank or something like that, maybe C+ rank, C rank, whatever it is. So it's actually not even that good even when it still has Gale Wings. But I would fix Gale Wings. Now, that's the only way I'd buff Talonflame. The other way would be like buff its attack, because why the hell does Amoonguss have like the same attacks that are more than Talonflame? Like that makes just zero. I'm pretty sure Amoonguss has more. Yep, base 85 versus base 81. Of course, the way I'd fix Gale Wings is I wouldn't make it how it was before, which is no matter what, it gets priority. But I would make it if this Pokemon is above half HP, that it has priority on its flying type attacks. That would make Talonflame actually viable. That would mean that these heavy-duty boots that were somewhat made for this type of Pokemon would actually have some use over it. And it still wouldn't make it broken because, again, it's not hard to knock Talonflame down to half. But at least, and its own recoil moves in Brave Bird knock it down to half too. But at least it gives Talonflame some use and lets it rise from the ashes. No Phoenix pun intended here when it comes to Talonflame. Pyroar. Pyroar pisses me off because it has the ability Moxie, but then its attack stat is base 68. Why? What? It's a lion Pokemon. It is inherently cool. Why did you do this to Pyroar? So, a few things I'm going to give it. First off, take some of its crappy defenses and special defenses, or even some of its HP, and put it into attack, bro. At least give me base 85 or 80 so I can abuse this. Base 68 is nothing, dude. Look at this attack stat. 235. This is pathetic. That is actually pathetic. So give it a little bit more attack investment. You can take from any of the stats, or you can just not take from its stats. The second thing I do is actually give it stuff to abuse its attack when you have Moxie on it. So Superpower is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of this type of thing. And I wouldn't give it Close Combat necessarily, but you have Flare Blitz, you would have Superpower from what I gave it, and you'd still have Wild Charge as well. And then obviously, if Return of Frustration ever come back, that would be your normal stab, and that's about it. Of course, on the special side, if you had to buff it, I would give it Scorching Sands. I just think it makes sense with the type of Pokemon it is. Yeah, I mean, it adds more to its arsenal because at the moment all you have is a fire move, Hyper Voice, and That's basically it. It doesn't get Grass Knot. There's no more hidden power, so you can't use that. You can use Sunny Day Solar Beam, but that's about it. So I would give it something like Scorching Sands to give it some use. Florges. When this Pokemon comes back, it better have Mystical Fire. Or we're going to talk to somebody. That's it. It better. You're going to give Sylveon Mystical Fire. You're going to give Gardevoir Mystical Fire. If this Fairy type does not have access to Mystical Fire, I'm just going to be mad. Like, it doesn't make sense. This one is so strong, has great special defense. It's already going to be a good defogger, especially coupled with heavy duty boots, right? It's a good Pokemon. It's a good Wish Passer in lower tiers. It's, you know, UU or RU material for sure. That's just the type of Pokemon it is, right? Look at that fat HP stat, uninvested, 344. This is crazy, bro. Look at this. Look at this. 447. What are you doing? It has an actual decent HP stat at base 78, which is, again, is decent. So I would definitely give it Mystical Fire, give it that coverage for the Steel types. It lost out on Hidden Powers, and I think that was the main reason why they, you know, gave these Fairy types and some Psychic types, I guess, Mystical Fire. Because it's, there's no more Hidden Power to, like, kind of give you that Hidden Power Fire for Scizors and Ferrothorns and things like that. So I hope Florges gets Mystical Fire. I think that's all it really needs. It already has Wish, Synthesis, Calm Mindsets. It already has like grass moves. It already has your fairy move, right? It has Moonblast, which every fairy should have. That is something every fairy should have. Why am I forced to use Dazzling Gleam? I'm not playing doubles. Give me Moonblast. You know the huge difference between Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast? Let me tell you something. Moonblast is one of the most broken moves in the game. Dazzling Gleam, base 80, doesn't miss. That's cool. Hits two Pokemon if it's if it's a double battle. Moonblast, base 95. Oh, wow, that's way more powerful. Surely this attack misses. Nope, 100% accurate. Oh, okay, cool. I mean, as long as they leave it there, it's not bad. Oh, wait. It keeps going. 30% chance to lower the target's special attack by 1. What the hell, man? Damn, Skull Burn in my special attack. Oh, it gets even better. 24 PP. They made that move so good. It has more PP than Dazzling Gleam. Like, they made that move so good. So, more Fairy types need it. But yeah, give me Mystical Fire. So, Furfrou. I didn't want it to make it too much like a Alolan Persian, but I do think that if you want to be able to abuse a fur coat and you want to use this over a Alolan Persian, you have to give it something that it could actually use, right? Knockoff is the first thing that comes to mind. I do think that Furfrou should have Knockoff. Good speed tier because a fur coat has decent defense, nice defense as well. Heavy duty boots is pretty cool. And has access to U-turn as well, and it kind of lost normal stab because, again, frustration and return on in the game. Who knows if they come back? But even like a Cotton Guard set could be pretty cool, and I would almost compare it to the Double that we have now, except Double has payback. So I would give Furfrou Knockoff as well, giving it the ability to at least be a utility mon. And then I give it Ice Fang and Fire Fang, kind of, you know, reminds me of Stoutland. It's a dog. I don't know why Furfrou really reminds me of Etika. Rest in peace, brother. I love that guy, man. Great dude. And yeah, it just reminds me of him. It's just something. I know he was really excited about Furfrou when it first came out. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like make the video turn a certain way. It just reminded me of him right now. But Ice Fang and Fire Fang from coverage doesn't really give it too much. It's not like it has too much to actually set up with. I think it gets work up, but that's about it. If you want to try an offensive one, but even a Choice Band one or Life Orb one could actually be decent with 102 speed and 80 attack if it had some coverage. Why doesn't Heliolisk get Scorching Sands? Aren't you a sand reptile? Don't you have Dry Skin, Sand Veil, and Solar Power? Like, why don't you have Scorching Sand? It's not even that great of coverage for this Pokemon. It just makes sense, you know? Like, it has Focus Blast, it has Thunderbolt, it has Grass Knot, it has Surf, it has Volt Switch, it has Hyper Voice, it has great moves. I would just give it Scorching Sands. I think even then, like, I would rather use, like, if I was playing an OU with Heliolisk, I would use Thunderbolt. I would use Scorching Sands, I would use Hyper Voice, and I would use Volt Switch. And the reason I use Scorching Sands is obviously hitting, you know, a Spadef Heatran if I'm Life Orb or Extra Belt, Thunderbolt, and Scorching Sands probably KOs it, something like that, but also getting the burns and giving Heliolisk that utility. Also, obviously, in lower tiers, giving you a way of dealing with, you can run Hyper Voice, whatever, but giving you a way of dealing with opposing electric types. I just don't think it makes sense why Heliolisk doesn't learn Scorching Sands. I don't get it. I personally don't get it. That's it. So next Pokemon is Gogoat. I had to think long and hard about this one. Shout out to Chimpback, who actually gave me the idea. But Grassy Surge. Yeah, give it Grassy Terrain. There's not a lot you can actually give to Gogoat that would make it better. Its stats are whatever. And it has, I mean, it has great HP and really great HP and pretty nice attack, right? Base 100, pretty nice special attack too at base 97. Doesn't really have special moves to abuse, which is whatever. But on the physical side, it does have Horn Leech, it does have Earthquake. You would have to give it high horsepower though, right? You'd have to give it high horsepower if you're using grassy terrain. Wild Charge and Headbutt, Sewer Power. It also has access to Bulk Up. I think that grassy terrain will not only provide its longevity, but also open up grassy terrain to lower tiers without me having to use a Thwackey. And of course, Thwackey would still be comparable or different in the way it functions because Thwackey has access to knockoff and U-turn, meaning that you could actually support a team better. But I don't think Gogoat would be overly broken with grassy terrain. I think it'd be really cool to see how lower tiers function with this Pokemon. I also think it'd be a decent, even physical wall Pokemon, right? With it, its defense isn't that great for a bulk up, but at least with leftovers and grassy terrain recovery, you can actually take a hit. Again, this is more of a faster one. It's just like, oh, this Pokemon needs this Pokemon needs this Pokemon needs this. Not going to be as long of a video as I usually do because there's not too many Pokemon in Generation 6. And again, there's only really good Pokemon and pretty bad Pokemon. In a sense that what they're missing out. Aromatisse is weird. So I put Regenerator there, but I'm going to put two other options as well. And I'm going to try my best to justify. And it doesn't necessarily have to be these two moves, but Aromatisse is the aroma Pokemon, right? Based on smells, perfume, and powders and things like that. So a Spore and Sleep Powder came to mind. That would obviously buff its utility for a few things. First off, it'd be a Trick Room user that can put you to sleep. And I mean, you can technically have that on Mew and Cresselia, I think, with Hypnosis or Cycle Shift, Rest, Talk, and Trick Room, and Smeargle or whatever, but I'm sure there's more. But it'd be pretty cool for lower tiers for Aromatisse, but also VGC as well. I'm trying to think of like both. I'm not trying to think of only OU, but I think of things that can open up Aromatisse. So Spore and Sleep, or Sleep Powder, or some sort of sleep move that has to do with smells or I don't know. Sleep Powder feels like it makes sense with this Pokemon, especially where you caught it. You caught it in the grass. Yeah, that makes sense, right? You catch all your Pokemon in the damn grass. I was just thinking about where you caught it by the daycare, an X and Y. I think you got Squirtsy there, if I'm not mistaken. But the other ability I give is actually Regenerator. Now, the reason I want to give this Regenerator is just because it's so bad as a Wish Passer. Let me explain why it's bad as a Wish Passer. I'm going to give you two other Wish Passers. We actually just went over one of them, which was Florges and Alomola. Aromatisse, if I had to go Wish Passers, right, and what they can do, I'd put Alomola on top, right? You got Alomola on top. And then some middle, you have Sylveon and Florges, right? They're both there, Sylveon and Florges. And when I'm talking about Wish Passers that are in Clefable or Blissey or whatever. And then you're way underneath Aromatisse. Why is Alomola a better Wish Passer than Aromatisse? Well, Alomola doesn't have to worry about healing itself and its partners. It can just do it by switching in with Regenerator and then just going for Wish. Alomola also has the luxury of having an insanely high HP stat, so it can heal its partners and just keep coming back and regenerating, right? Sylveon is a little bit better at doing this than Aromatisse because it has better coverage all around, and it provides like offensive prowess with like Hyper Voice, and now has Mystical Fire and stuff like that too. But in terms of how they do it, I guess Sylveon is the most comparable to Aromatisse because it has to worry about healing itself and its teammates. But Sylveon kind of just sits on every Pokemon and also has better special defense than Aromatisse does, right? And then you have Florges, which can not only wish to help its teammates, but it can also go for Synthesis and heal itself, right? As also providing defog support. Aromatisse sucks because it's the type of Pokemon that you have to bring in on a fighting type, and you have to wish up, and you usually have to protect because this Pokemon's usually just shy of being 2 KO by stuff and having to worry about hazards. Obviously, heavy duty boots can help, with that weakness, but it's a Pokemon that always has to worry about healing itself or its partners. It can never do one or the other, and it's very easy to overwhelm in lower tiers. It's almost always overwhelmed. We've been doing that for years. So I do think that they should give Aromatisse Regenerator. I think that it would help it in what it actually is meant to do, which is Wish Pass. Is there a particular reason why I think it should have Regenerator besides that? No. Moving on. I want to give Malamar Octolock. I mean, it's a what is it? A Kraken? It's a Kraken, but it's a squid. I also think Artillery and things like that. I think every Octopus type Pokemon, Tentacruel 2, should all have Octolock, and I'll talk about them when I talk about Gen 2, Gen 1 eventually and stuff like that. Gen 1's gonna have a pretty long video. Gen 2's probably gonna be a pretty long video too, just because the lower we get in Gen 3, the lower we get, the worse the Pokemon get, right? Because the stats are not adjusted to them because of Power Creep. But I give Malamar Octolock. I think it'd be pretty cool to like a taunt Octolock set with Contrary with like superpower, so it's still boosting against you, or like sub or anything. I think you just give it more utility. I just think it makes sense because of the type of Pokemon or the type of animal it is. I do hope that Octolock will be more widely distributed. It's not really like something like, oh, this Pokemon needs it. Malamar is weird because superpower and knockoff are just good coverage. I'd also give it Psychic Fangs, but it's hard to justify it when it has a beak. And I was looking at Pokemon that learn Psychic Fangs, and none of them look like Malamar. But I think the Octolock would be really nice to make like a Trapper set. It has decent all-around stats, and it can boost itself if it gets in trouble. So I like that idea behind it. Dragalge is an algae Pokemon, and because it's an algae Pokemon, because blue algae, if you guys didn't know, is used in like lots of medicine and things like that, I thought of two things. I thought of Recover and I thought of Aromatherapy. Now, Aromatherapy I thought made the most sense because you're healing people with, you know, your algae. I thought it'd be really cool. Dragalge actually has, you know, it's a great move pool. It's Draco Meteor, Sludge Bomb, and you have your Focus Blast for your steals, and then you have Flip Turn or Surf or Hydro Pump, whatever the hell you want. Hydro Pump, Flip Turn, usually Scald sometimes. Toxic Spikes is cool, but I do think that more, you know, utility sets could also make use of Aromatherapy because Dragalge has really good resistances, being Poison and Dragon, and being a grounded poison type, meaning it's a poison type to touch the ground, not that it's ground poison. It can absorb Toxic Spikes too, so it actually has a lot of utility. So I feel like the addition of Aromatherapy would not break its moveset at all, but would add more options to defensive ones, and even just give you, you know, options for like, you know, like even if I want to use this thing in OU, I could switch it in on Clefable and not worry about Thunder Wave ever because I just go for Aromatherapy. Again, Recover is something else I thought that I could have. I wasn't too sure if I could justify it, but I like the idea. Dedenne. I mean, I went on a whole rant before about Dazzling Gleam versus Moonblast. Just give it Moonblast, bro. It's not even that great of a Pokemon, but with Cheat Couch and Pataya Berry, you can still do some things. And I mean, they gave it, it has Thunderbolt, right? It has Thunderbolt and it has Grass Knot. This is kind of all it needs. If it had Moonblast, I would even use, I might even use this Mon, but I would even try and use this Mon in OU like this. Just because decent speed tier, faster than Urshifu, threatens Corviknight and stuff like that. I get your Pataya Berry. Probably Sub is better than Recycle. But the cool thing is, like, I wouldn't even need Grass Knot if it had Moonblast. But Dazzling Gleam is just so freaking weak, man. But if it was like just like this, I'd use this in OU. This set is very annoying in random battles as well. This set is very, very annoying in random battles with Toxic over Moonblast. But if it had Moonblast, it'd make it stronger as a Pokemon. It's a Pikachu clone. I know they're not the greatest Pokemon, but just give it Moonblast, man. Make it be able to do something with its stats. So Goodra. Two things I want to do. I want to give Goodra Dragon Dance. Now, not necessarily for Goodra's stats. It does have base 100 attack, but I mean, I do want to give it Dragon Dance. I don't think it would break Goodra in a sense. And it's not like it has terrible moves to abuse. Like it has Earthquake and Power Whip and Outrage as physical moves, right? And Iron Tail. That's about it, right? So it's not like it can abuse Dragon Claw because it doesn't learn it. It doesn't have Clash and like Dragon Dart. So it would have to be locked in if you use the physical Dragon move, unless you were using. Do you learn Dragon Rush? I feel like you don't. Yep. So, yeah. So Dragon Dance would mainly be to actually use a special set. And what do you mean by that? Basically, I do like Dragon Dance. Maybe like, depending on the tier, with Thunderbolt, Fire Blast type of thing. Maybe if I want to go full coverage, I'll do Bolt Beam, Fire Blast, something like that. Why am I doing that? Just to raise its speed, so that way it can actually be a little sweeper and try it. Can really justify giving it Rock Polish, Shift Gear, or anything like that. But Dragon Dance, I mean, it's a dragon, it makes sense. Maybe Recover is also an option I'd give to Goodra. I think it'd be insanely hard to kill, but I mean, it already has Hydration, and its status is Cured Under Rain, and Sap Sipper, and Gooey. I don't know, I feel like Recover kind of makes sense with the type of sloppy Pokemon it is. But like Curse Recover would be really cool and that type of thing. So that's just an option, not necessarily what I'm leaning more towards. And then I have Klefki. I want to buff Fairy Lock. Fairy Lock prevents all Pokemon from switching next turn. So I've seen, I know Envy did it, but I also know Chipax has done it way in the past, and I also know a lot of people on the ladder have done it before as well. But Fairy Lock is cool because you make your opponent's Pokemon not switch out. This is very important in Pokemon singles specifically, because while doubles only has 4 Pokemon, singles has 6. And you know, if I can play soon. Give me a sec. Let me finish this recording. 4 minutes. Alright, so, my bad. They're asking if I want to play some Unite. I just wanted to get back, and I feel like it's rude to leave people on red, even though I do it all the time, because when you look at your phone on Discord and you come back to your computer, like sometimes it doesn't show up. But anyway, I'd buff Fairy Lock. I'd make it so that I give it an extra turn. So it prevents all Pokemon from switching next turn. So people use eject button plus Fairy Lock. So basically you would go Klefki, they'd Fairy Lock on, let's say, let's say it was a Landorus, right? And I'm physically defensive Klefki, and it's defensive Landorus. So Earthquake can never KO me. I go for Fairy Lock. They click Earthquake. I am eject buttoned out. I get in Weave Out. That Landorus cannot switch because they are Fairy Lock for this turn. Meaning I get a free Ice Crash, Triple Axle, whatever, Ice Shard, whatever I want to go for to knock out that Landorus, right? I think that's cool, but I do think that Fairy Lock could be buffed to 2 turns. I think that provides setup and even more opportunities for that as well, so it actually makes you play smarter on this Pokemon. Not that Klefki isn't bad, obviously. Like, it's a Prankster Spikes Pokemon. They already nerfed it when they buffed Dark types. You can't Thunder Wave your Veltal. I used to use Klefki as an Veltal and a Xerneas check Ubers. Can't Thunder Wave a Veltal anymore. Can't even Toxic a Veltal. Roost a Veltal beats me 1v1. So I'll make Fairy Lock 2 turns. So instead of just the next turn, it's the turn after as well. So you're forced to stay in, make your decisions. It's not broken because I believe only Klefki gets Fairy Lock. I believe only Klefki gets Fairy Lock and Panjantum. So only Klefki and Danny Phantom over here, but it wouldn't be broken on Klefki. You'd only really be able to use it once, depending on the situation. But it would mean that it could technically still use it twice, because as long as you click Fairy Lock, and you couldn't switch the next turn, right? Even if Klefki died again, it would still work out. Even if it took 2 turns to kill Klefki, it would still work out. So I would just buff Klefki in that way. But that's basically all I have for Gen 6. A lot of other Pokemon are pretty good. I didn't think there was a need to touch Hoopa. Clawitzer, I'm like, how the hell do I buff Clawitzer? It has a great move pool. Just speed sucks, and that's just it. I can't just give everything a million speed. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know what Pokemon you would buff on Generation 6. And yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.